Hi and welcome. Welcome to our reflection for today. As you can see, I am in the vicarage garden this morning. Now, those of you that know me will not need me to say that I am no gardener. It's not really something I've got much of a natural interest in, to be honest. But this year, and especially during lockdown, I've been really particularly struck by the opportunity and benefits and joys of stewarding a small piece of creation that has been gifted to us. Now here in the vicarage, we've been asked to be stewards or tenants, really, of the little bit of creation that is the garden of the vicarage. And we don't have any financial interest in it. We've just been entrusted to look after it for a little while, however long we're here. And if I'm really honest, neither April or I, in the first 2 years we've been here, have really invested any time at all in this space. And the result, in March, after 2 years of being here, 2 years after moving in, was really just a bare patch of rather uninteresting grass that had been put here by the builders. But, of course, lockdown changes many things, doesn't it? And because of lockdown, and the fact that we were forced really to spend so much more time at home, as well as the amazing weather that we had, especially in April and May, we've finally invested some time in this little bit of creation that we've been entrusted with. So we've not done anything huge. We've dug out a few borders, we've created a few raised beds, we've planted seeds of all kinds, as well as planting slightly more established plants and shrubs, and we've also created a place where the birds can feed. And the result has been a real delight. It's been a real delight. We've seen colour and shape and beauty come to what was a rather formless place and space that we'd been given. We've seen beauty grow from virtually nothing. We found food on our plates that has been grown in the soil here. But we've also found, I think, real delight in the process. Now, of course, there's physical work involved, isn't there? There's fairly hard work in digging and preparing the soil. There's also the mental work required in planning what to grow, how best to go about it, and what it is we're trying to create. And then there's the daily rhythm, if you like, of caring for the process of growth, making sure that the plants are fed with nutrients, making sure that they're watered, protecting them from pests. Now, the result, well, we haven't instantly created some sort of gardener's world case study, don't get me wrong. We are far from expert gardeners. Well, I certainly am far from being an expert gardener. But what we've seen is that this little patch of the planet has begun to develop and to flourish. It's now got so much more life and diversity in it than it did for the first 2 years. It's fruitful, it's producing things, and it's becoming home, not just to noisy vans, but to the plants that we've placed here and grown, and to the animals that are part of the wider ecosystem of creation. So as I've sat here this morning just reflecting on this, there have been butterflies fluttering around. There's been bees busily working on the flowers, birds enjoying and fighting over the feeder. Now, we haven't created them. Most of the work has been done by this utterly amazing and beautiful and bountiful creation that we've been freely gifted life amongst. Our job has been to shepherd, if you like, to steward the process a little. Our job has been to join in with God's amazing, generous work. And we shouldn't be totally surprised, should we, in all this? The Bible tells us that we're all made and placed on earth to be good stewards of this gift of creation. It's part of God's invitation to us, if you like, to be in loving relationship with Him, to be in loving relationship with the people around us, but also to be in loving relationship with the creation in which we're placed. With the gift of creation comes the responsibility to care for it. And that's not just to preserve it as it is, but to actively work with creation so it can be more fruitful, so that all of God's creatures can flourish. Sometimes our 21st century lives, full of technology and comfort, can cut us off from this invitation and from really understanding the gifts of creation that we're placed in. It certainly does for me. But the last few months have really provided a lovely kick back into some sort of small engagement with this invitation to be stewards of creation. And I'm really appreciative of it. Now, we're not all gardeners, are we? We don't all have gardens to physically steward, but we are all gifted with natural resources of some sort. We're all given some sort of resources to steward, and we are invited to steward them well, nurturing them, investing ourselves in their growth and the flourishing of all creation. So my invitation for us all today really is just to reflect on how we are stewarding the gifts that we've been given. Not for our own benefit, but for the benefit and flourishing of those around us, and for the benefit and flourishing of the whole of creation that has been freely given to us. Is what you've been given being just left to go to grass? Are you taking what God's given you and working with Him to see creation come to life in all sorts of unexpected ways? We really shouldn't be surprised that when we put a bit of effort in and a bit of stewardship in, we see God bring all sorts of amazing, wonderful growth. So I do hope you have a wonderful day. Be blessed and be a blessing to others. And I look forward to seeing you soon.